Hey folks, welcome to the Undead Gaming Cast. I'm Rob the Undead Gamer, and welcome to our monthly podcast where we talk about video games, the industry, and stuff and all things. Joining us, of course, is Mr. SingularityJosh.
Howdy.
How you doing, sir?
I'm alright, how are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Thank you for coming on as per normal, as per regular, as our mainstay host.
I was about to say, unless at this point I'm no longer a guest, I am actually just a co-host.
I hate to break it to you now.
He doesn't want to give you that bunce. That's the problem.
This is it. We've got
a badly drawn Naz Dragonheart in the building.
We've brought you all here. Brought you all here to tell you.
Better than ever, some might say.
Absolutely.
Cool people.
Well, and there we go. So yes, Mr. Naz Dragonheart is also joining us this episode of the UndeadGamingCast. Welcome.
Absolutely.
In a badly drawn form. So if you're watching this live or you're watching the VOD, then you can see our artist rendition, our resident artist, of course, SingularityJosh, his beautiful rendition of Naz Dragonheart as badly drawn Naz. This is a bit that has survived, I think, the last 2 years on and off UndeadGamingCast.
Yeah, it is a bit that that has survived the rebooting of the podcast.
At least 2 years ago, when we were sort of also doing the podcast, I was away working in Italy, and the guys took the reins of the podcast and carried it on with representing myself in a badly drawn form, badly drawn Rob, who is somewhere here.
Badly drawn Rob is a wonderful, wonderful image.
He is somewhere here. But anyway, CS, welcome to the Undead Gaming Cast, a monthly podcast we talk about video games and stuff and things. So if you're new, welcome. Here's how we do the show. We generally start by talking about what we've been up to, what we've been playing this month in video games, and then we move swiftly on to our news topics of the month, which, let me tell you, it's chock-a-block. It's chock-a-block this month. And then we
definitely didn't have to scramble for this one.
Not at all. And
No.
With nothing but absolute professionalism here and full of news content.
I was about to say, there was definitely not a fucking really, really, capered together game between me and Rob at 1 PM yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, which then I
definitely didn't happen.
At 4 PM yesterday afternoon. Be like, we don't know what we're doing.
Naz, we need help.
That definitely never happened. We are professionals.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just gonna panic and do my job, and also help you guys. I'll do my best.
It was much appreciated. And then we, of course, finish off the show by shamelessly self-promoting and plugging ourselves and telling you where you can find us on the internet. So, without further ado, Naz, what have you been up to? What have you been playing this month? What have you been doing?
Well, I can't wait to tell you all about this. So I have been trashed today. I feel exhausted and knackered, and I'll tell you for why. I bought a Ring Fit. It's happened, boys. I got on to train.
I saw your tweet.
Ring Fit Adventures train.
I also saw this as well.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, Ring Fit Adventure is one of these fitness games that Nintendo like to do. And it's quietly brilliant, actually. So you get the thing. It's all it is that you get like a leg strap and a resistance band ring. So you push it and you pull the ring to do like exercise with your chest and upper body, and with the leg strap, like all you do is put 2 Joy-Cons, one in the ring, one in the leg strap, and the leg strap will like monitor any walking and running you'll be doing in the game. It's got a really clever little feature where it's just like, if you're like me, you sort of live in a very echoey type household, or like you don't want to run at night and disturb everybody, you can have silent running, which just makes you just do squats instead. So it's the same kind of motion and moves the same muscle groups, but you are not like bang, 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 bang. And yeah, I've done 2 sessions of it now. I bought it yesterday, did one when I got it in, very light one. I did a proper one today. I think I did about 20, 30 minutes on the clock, it said. Just trashed me. Just absolutely, like, my legs are still burning. It's brilliant, though. Like, you've got, a load of mini games and stuff in there. You've got, the actual adventure mode, where there's, a little story.
That's literally what I was about to ask you. How is it structured? Because I vaguely remember seeing it being, almost like a kind of like a reasonably, casual RPG thing, where you, kill monsters by like
Squatting.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I heard it
Yeah.
was like a fitness RPG, which sounds pretty cool.
It's really cool actually. So it's kind of in a similar vein to like an Infinity Blade or something like that. So you'll be running along for a bit, you'll be doing a bit of a jog, and then you'll hit like a thing that it needs you to do. So sometimes there'll be coins along the road, so you pull the ring fit to drag those in. Sometimes there'll be stuff you need to shoot, you squeeze the ring fit to do that. Sometimes you will hit these monsters, and that's where you get like a choice of exercise to do. So if you go like, oh, it doesn't really matter what you choose, 'cause everything's roughly like the same damage, if you will. So if you want to like work out like your arms, you can do like a couple of arm exercises and stuff like that. It does try to make you do like a couple different ones. So you'll do like an overhead stretching exerise. Like, cool, you've done some damage there. You can't do that one for the next 1 or 2 turns, so you got to pick another one. So okay, I'll do some like spin like waist stretching, and I'll do that. I'll do a bit more damage, stuff like that. And then you'll beat that thing, and then you move on back to running, and then get to the end of the stage. Like they're not very long things to do, but they're like enough there that it's sort of like, okay, cool, I get this. The worst one I've done so far is there's like windmills that you can do sometimes. So it was like the second to last stage I did today. So you can like squeeze the ring fit really quickly, shoot like blasts of air out, and you can make these windmills turn, and then they'll open up doors. And I had like a set of these, like set of three, little bit of running, set of three, little bit of running, set of three, little bit of running. I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die now. But yeah, it's really effective what it does, and there's some super clever things I didn't think you could do with the ring fit, like measure your heart rate because there's an IR sensor in the right Joy-Con. So you just put your thumb over at the end of an exercise, like, let's just measure your heart rate, and it's just like I would never have thought to do that. Never would have done. But yeah,
Awesome.
That's
really really
insane.
clever.
Mm.
Do you think there's enough like longevity there to keep you coming back? Like, say we
I
did the
think
podcast in a month's time, or is it like kind of gimmicky?
no, I think it depends how easy, because for people who don't have easy access to a gym, I think it's really really good.
Especially now.
It's yeah, especially now, which is why there's so many. Like they're going for hundreds of pounds on the internet at the minute. I was really lucky that like I could blag it through work, so I've got it for like the RRP, but like they're going for fucking mad money on eBay.
I was fully actually thinking about it because I'm not like I don't really like working out. Like I don't really like going to the gym and stuff. But
Mm.
like it's really strange. Like I enjoy exercise when I do it, but I really really struggle with like motivation and stuff. So I think having like a video game that has like a structure.
Yeah, gamifying your stuff up really, it certainly helps me because it sometimes when I'm working out or doing for that, I don't feel like I'm making any progress.
Mm.
And I think when you've got like a thing with levels and structure, that it goes, okay, so you've done 8 minutes of exercise, you've done a level, brilliant. It's like, okay, I've actually felt like I've achieved something. And then you've got like bars that go up and tell you like, you've unlocked things or you've gone up another level, you've unlocked another exercise, stuff like that. Having that, it's just like, okay, I've got more motivation to go on because I know I can do something else. But then also, like, you'll get to a point where you just be like knackered and be like, I'm done with the game for today. I'm interested to do more, but I am done with the game today because I can't move. Yeah,
It's awesome.
I do recommend it, but only if you get it for a solid price, not the kind of price that are happening at the minute.
I'm actually just going to
Um,
go quickly Amazon it and see what the going rate is.
Mate, the Amazon prices are, like I say, I waited for work to have some free,
Mm.
and I had to like kind of go around the systems that we got there at the minute and play it to my own advantage. I did stuff for me I wouldn't have done for any other customer. So
Right, so obviously out of stock on legit Amazon.
hmm.
Um, the lowest price they have it available for is £115.
Oof.
And I'm just gonna go like I'm gonna see how far back I can go. There you go. Yeah, the one that you can get Prime delivery on, which is still through like a third party seller but fulfilled by,
Hmm.
is £230.
Oof.
Wow.
Oof. And I don't see that being like the Cooking Mama game that's being like pulled from everywhere because it's quite weirdly controversial because of the way it released. Like I see that being like big value later on down the line, just because it's going to be quite hard to get hold of.
Mm.
I think the Ring Fit thing won't really. It won't. It'll do that Nintendo thing where it won't depreciate in value, but it won't really increase in value either.
Yeah.
They'll sort of maintain. Like I say, as a thing, like for someone who's like not super into like fitness but does want to be fit, I think it's a really good thing.
Mm. Do you think there's something more in it for this to like be like a series or something, or like every now and then they release like an update for it so that there's like more to do with it?
I don't think retail-wise it did very well.
Mm.
It didn't do very well until this. It's done very well out of this.
Yeah.
Like we've sold so many. Can't obviously say where we sold them from, but you can piece it together from what I've been saying basically. But yeah, I don't think it did terribly. I don't think it did tremendously either. I don't think it was like the sensational overhaul, but certainly out of this, there's like been more interesting. And they did release an update recently where they've got like a dance along thing now. So there's a few little bits with some music. There's some Mario music in there, some Zelda music, and then it will just like have a workout dance routine to go with it.
Nice.
So you can do it to that. So I think it's going to get possibly more updates now because of like its uprise in popularity. But I'm not sure if it's something that they're going to like. We're not going to get Ring Fit 2 maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll be pleasantly surprised if they do.
I mean, I know that Wii Fit did really, really, really well, and I don't think we got a Wii Fit 2 though, did we?
We got the Wii. Wii Fit was the one with the balance board, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that too.
I think I feel like we did. I feel like there was a Wii Fit something else.
There was another something else. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, is it Wii Fit Plus?
Yeah, maybe when they
released
the remote, because you could actually do like more accurate motions with that one, I guess.
Yeah.
They did a lot of stuff when Plus came out.
Was that really, really long like extension to the Wii Nunchuck?
Yeah, the big chunky boy.
Yeah.
Which then they just put in controllers anyway. I got a Zelda one from God, Silver's just got it in there. So, why do you have to have the big chunk on the bottom then for the rest? It's in here. It exists.
All about that big chunk.
All about that big chunk. I say, other than that, I've gone back and I've gone to a little game called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, specifically the remastered version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I'd just, you know, when I'm not killing myself on a Wii, on a Ring Fit's device, I'd shoot some Russians in the face.
How's that working out for you?
That's held up really well as a single player campaign.
Yeah.
About halfway through now. I've just done the infamous nuke mission. So.
Oh man.
That's good.
There was a good campaign on that game. The old COD campaigns used to be real good, man. Real good.
That one in particular, it's like very measured. So you slowly.
Rightly, I think like the iconic campaigns in the Call of Duty franchise are that one on Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, very much so. I say the one where you go in Modern Warfare 2 to the Gulag to rescue prisoners 627. Very good. Very good. A lot of breach and clear stuff there.
And then also like the infamous no Russian. Stuff that kind of really kicked that kind of thing off.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing the Giddies in the Mist mission, the one where you go back in time.
Man, yeah, that was a great mission.
Beautifully paced. It's a mission where you shoot nothing in, but it's beautifully paced.
Yeah.
There's
a tension as well to that mission, man. It's just like.
Yeah, well, it's really in two parts, though, isn't it? 'Cause it's like there's the mission which is like you in the ghillie suit stealthing through, and then the second part of the mission which is actually shooty, which is like in like that like Chernobyl like fairground thing.
Is the actual Chernobyl fairground, isn't it?
Yeah,
the infamous one.
It is, yeah.
Because they showed that on all the trailers for it, if I remember correctly. They talk about the amount of people who died there. Brush over the fact that like what you're doing in that mission is for like good reasons or anything like that. It's for the perceived greater good, but it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna go assassinate a guy because we don't like him.
There's a mission towards the back end of it which I think has got like I know it's I can't remember what film it is, but it's It's like the title of the mission's like stuck with me forever, which is the no fighting in the war room.
Oh yeah.
That's a '60s film. Doctor Strangelove, I think.
Or how I learned to love the Bond.
Yeah.
But yeah, no fighting in the war room, and I do actually I remember that mission because it gave me an awful lot of trouble when I was doing it on Veteran, and I think that might have been the point where I kind of like went, I don't think I can do this.
Well, say, do you know in the ghillie mission, where you have to lie down flat and not get rolled over by a tank?
Yeah.
I got rolled over by a tank so many times on that mission. Just because I nudged slightly, and it's just like, oh, it's gonna get me now, fucking hell.
I've been run over by a tank in that mission more times than I can.
So many times. But yeah, that's what I've been playing for the past month, really. Apart from just loads of Final Fantasy VII, but I imagine there's a podcast out there where I cover that in great extensive detail. Can't imagine where though.
I mean, we can have a little conversation about it now. That's not a problem. But absolutely, if you would really like to go into listening to any thoughts and opinions on Final Fantasy VII, then you can check out the bonus level of the Undead Gaming Cast, where myself, Naz, and our friend Nick discuss in depth Final Fantasy VII Remake, which came out this month.
Segue. Yeah, that's what me all sorting then.
Awesome. SingularityJosh, what have you been playing? What have you been doing?
I'm still on that Animal Crossing grind.
Yep.
Ooh,
nice.
That grind.
It's just good, wholesome fun.
Have you gotten into the plant growing yet?
Well, like the turnip stuff.
No. I'm talking plants. I'm talking because they had the update this week or last week.
Oh yeah, like with the bushes and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fairly casual observer of Animal Crossing. Like there is like it's really strange because like you think like it's kind of like this game about and it's played in real time and and all the characters are all like lovely and cartoony and there's no violence and there's nothing like that. And people are goddamn ruthless.
Yeah.
They're like turnips are selling for 600 bells on my island. I will only allow entry if you give me like X item or money or X, and they have it all like fenced off, and they have like their friends like standing as like bodyguards, so you can't like trip through the line and stuff. Like people are mad. I can see Rob like laughing at me when I said, "Oh, I'm reasonably casual about it." But there are people that like Animal Crossing is a hardcore game. It's a hardcore game.
Oh, absolutely. Have you heard about the villager economy at the minute?
The what?
So
you see what I mean? Like this is casual nonsense. Like what?
So in Animal Crossing, you get villagers.
Correct.
Correct assessment. Yes.
It is where the animal portion of the game comes in. Play as the only human in the world.
Absolutely.
Not worrying at all.
You also know these villagers are tiered. Some are more valuable and wanted than others.
Oh dear.
This is a real thing.
Running some sort of goddamn fucking. Like...
So go on. Give me a name of one of your villagers.
My villagers.
Any name of one of your villagers. Chow. So
I was a pink panda bear for reference.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna look through the list. And I'm gonna tell you where Chow is in terms of the ranking.
Chow's great.
I mean, Chow's not made tier 3, so that's worrying. We're gonna go to tier 4. We're going tier 4.
I don't care. He's a pink panda. Like, for those of you who are audio only, I have a shirt which just says "Bear with me" on it. I have a gigantic bear tattoo on my arm. There is nothing you can convince me to say that Chow is not a tier 1 villager.
I remember just very, very quickly, very briefly. I remember when I was living with Josh for about I think 2-3 months or so. I'd picked up Far Cry 4, and a bear comes about in the wilderness, and I have to kill it dead. Josh at that point walks in. I look at him like I've done some dirty shame, And he's like, don't kill that fucking bear. Don't you dare kill that fucking bear. And I was like, I've got to because he's killing me. And he was like, if you kill that bear, you're out of here. I have to kill said bear. Josh looks at me. I've never seen so much disappointment on a man's face. I felt genuinely bad. He walks out and leaves.
I remember the look he gave me though, because he looked like I just walked in on him shitting on my living room car.
Literally.
That was the look he gave me.
Yeah.
Like, I am so sorry. And I think the next time that we were like hanging out, like in the house, and you came across a bear, you purposely, if you remember, you ran away from it for like a good 45 minutes.
I did, yeah.
You got in like a car and like drove. The bear was still chasing you. It was really funny. It was very amusing. It was a good 45 minutes.
Brilliant. So I hate to break to you, Josh, but Chow's she's tier 6, which essentially means giveaway.
Ouch!
You can't get nothing for Chow.
Right. Okay. So
let me explain your tiers here.
Yeah,
so
please do.
Basic, that's your giveaways. Then your less popular ones are worth 250,000 bells to 10 Nook miles. Then you got tier 4 up to 1 million, 25 Nook miles, and 5 million, 50 Nook miles. Then you got tier 2, 8 million, 100 Nook miles, and then you got your top tier, your number 1 tier, your top 15, which are worth 15 to 20 million bells or 1,000 Nook miles.
What the actual fuck?
I got Audi, who's number 2. I'm fucking great. I want Judy
so
though.
who's your top so what's the top 15 then? I don't think I've got any of them, but I'm curious.
So the top one is Raymond, who is the grey cat with like one eye colour different to another. The reason he's top tier is because I don't know if you got to this point in the game, but you have like a campsite you have later on, and you can scan in like the Animal Crossing cards, the NFC cards to try and tempt them in quicker.
Right, sorry, Naz. Just very, very quickly before you jump on your point. That's another thing. That's another point I'd just like to quickly raise about people on Animal Crossing being crazy. People have started like bootlegging these cards. Like they sell them on like Etsy and eBay, like copies of like the QR codes of like the legit card, and they sell them for like 5, 6, 7 quid a go.
Oh yeah, people who bum Animal
People
Crossing
are insane.
really bum Animal Crossing.
I love that at the start when this came out, it was wholesome fun, and everything I saw about it was like, oh, it's so cute and awesome. Now it's like, give me them QR codes. What you got?
It's got a dark
Got
side.
the bells.
I remember.
It's got a dark side.
I posted a meme on Facebook of like one of the like somebody's villager like sniffing a flower, and then somebody like digging the flower up that they were sniffing, and Rob was like, and that was the day that Animal Crossing's wholesomeness
Died.
But it's true. Go on, sorry, Naz, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. Then you got Audi, the red fox. Red or orange? Orange fox. We'll just call her Orange Fox. She's popular, I believe, because she's named after an old granny who plays or used to play Animal Crossing. So she was actually added into the game, so people were pretty psyched about that. Then you got Marshall, who I see loads of people going on about, who's the little bear thing. Then there's Judy, the multicolored bear. Sherb, then Julian, Diana, Marina, Fawn, who is a fauna. Oh no, Fauna, who's a fawn. Stitches, which is like a orange bear with like a pink thing, like in the middle of his head, almost like it's like a mohawk that goes all the way down to his like little bear mouth. Meringue, the rhinoceros.
Yeah, the rhinoceros that's made out of pudding. Yeah, I know that one.
Made out of pudding.
Right now, this is sounding like fucking Pokemon
Leathery.
now.
I must admit, to be fair, they are very cute.
So for someone,
I'll send you the list for this, Josh, so you can search for your tiers.
So if you are like me and you have never touched Animal Crossing before in your life, I've got to ask this question. What's the relevance of the tiers? Why are these people important? Why do you...
They're not. It's perceived. It's totally perceived value, which is kind of what I was saying about like the game. Like if you just picked up, if you never had any like human interaction with anybody on the internet about like Animal Crossing, and you just kind of like you had like me on the Switch and like Naz or whatever, and we just kind of
play the game like a normal person,
and we just played together and did some things that were kind of like profitable. Like if you sell like if your island is like oranges natively, if you go to like your friend's island who's like peaches, your oranges are worth more because they don't have them.
Sure.
Cool. So like there's a couple of things like that are like what I consider like normal tiers of play.
Yeah.
Like if you've just got friends, like sure, why not come over, like explore, come on, hang out, sell your fruit, whatever. But like Naz says, people are crazy. And like, if you've got...
I haven't even got to the breeding ground flowers yet, mate. I haven't even got to that.
Like Naz said, people are crazy. SingularityJosh 2020.
I saw that. Like people have like started to work out the ways to like min-max Animal Crossing.
Oh my god, stop.
Like, they've worked out like, the most efficient way to like breed flowers so like you get all the colour variations quickest.
Here's my 12 spreadsheets of how to win Animal Crossing.
See, no, but you fucking...
Mate, I'm doing this.
You make that joke, but people
do, yeah. No, it doesn't surprise me.
I'm gonna min-max this sun gun. I'm gonna get all those hybrids. I'm gonna get them in. I'm gonna make my place look nice.
Well,
I've been told off having too many trees. All the trees are gonna be going.
In that case,
I'll chop every fucking tree down.
In that case, Naz, if I may, next month for the podcast, whether you're a part of it or not, I would like a report. Just a brief little report of your progress of how you're min-maxing this game, and if you're not on, I will read it out, or Josh will.
That's a sexy flower guy.
If you are on, then you can obviously do it yourself. But I feel like we need a progress report on how you're attempting to ultimately win.
Ultimately win the flower game.
How you're attempting to platinum.
It's full madness.
Amazing.
I realised that you are now discussing Animal Crossing Wholesome Sim suddenly became discussing Animal Crossing World Championships 2021. That's where we're at now.
Amazing.
I'm going for the championship, baby, and I demand a medal.
So I've been playing casual Animal Crossing with my friends. It's been very nice.
Nice.
Very wholesome.
Casual and wholesome.
It's been... Well, that's it.
As opposed to spreadsheets and
Sounds
mental.
Like you're not making enough bank yet.
Yeah, like I'm not. I'm fully Animal Crossing poor. Like,
not on my island.
So something that this like lockdown has done, and we kind of explored this a little bit last month, is that I've actually kind of been playing games that are like very out of character for me. So further to that point, I picked up Injustice 2.
Cool.
Which is another fighting game, but like DC based.
Yeah.
Very cool. I have played a little bit before, but I'm actually
man. I lost
starting
a month to it.
It's really good. It's really fun.
The armor system in that game is very, very... Like, I bought it on the cheap, so I could play as a Ninja Turtle, because there's not many good Ninja Turtle games. This looks fun. I went so fucking deep with it, man. So deep.
Yeah, it's just a good fucking solid...
You on that Swamp Man hype?
I'm not actually... I'm playing through the campaign at the minute, and I haven't actually... I fought against Swamp Thing. But I haven't played as Swamp Thing. But like, sadly, I don't actually think Swamp Thing is going to be a character that like I would like. As Swamp Thing is, for those of you who don't know, my favorite DC character of all time. But I don't think that he actually is like my play style at all. Like, I think I'd really, really struggle to play him.
Fair.
So I like fast, like nippy characters, generally speaking. So people like Green Arrow is somebody that really resonates with me a lot.
Yeah.
And like I quite like Batman. Batman's quite good. Harley's pretty good. But yeah, like
the Ninja Turtles are really cool because they change depending on what weapon you get equipped to the loadout. So I've just had a loadout for every turtle.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's a good game. Like, it's kind of set in like an alternative DC timeline where, which was obviously started by the first Injustice, where the Joker kills Lois Lane, and Superman just goes mental, and then just becomes like a total like totalitarian dickhead, and then like Batman tries to stop him, and it's kind of like Civil War in the sense of that it's like one set of heroes is on one side and one set of heroes is kind of on the other. But like I've not played like loads of it, but it's really scratched the itches as far as fighting games has come for me.
Did you play the first one?
I did very briefly years ago when it came out, but it was, I don't know. Like I'll probably pick up the first one if I see it on sale or something, just to play through the story mode.
Yeah.
But it's made by the guys who make Mortal Kombat, so it's like as you can.
I don't highly recommend the first one. It was free on PS Plus. It was like the first free PS Plus game, in fact, for PS4. It's fine.
Yeah, I was about to say. I remember it being okay.
It doesn't just have that very fucking sweet like loot loop that Just 2's got. It weighs up just like enough for you to be like, okay, this is good. To being, oh, okay, this is too much of a grind. That nice sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm not. I must admit, I'm not invested enough time into it yet, really, to understand kind of how. Like, as far as I'm aware, that like the loot system, obviously, they do have like some effects on stats when you do like survivally, like pyramid, like traditional like arcade stuff. But for the most part, it's like, oh, cool. It's like Gotham by Gaslight Batman, and like Harley's like, Harlequin outfit rather than like, her like more modern, like the kind of like the biker leather kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I haven't really got that far into it to really do that. The other game, like I did mention it very briefly, but I did actually I dipped my toe back into the water with it last night. And I've probably played about an hour of it now, rather than like literally like 15 minutes, and I've done like the first like boss fight and stuff. It was Octopath Traveler, which I know that Naz really enjoyed, I think.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh boy. So where you started?
I started with Ophelia.
Oh, good choice.
Because I don't really know how it's like. I literally just went around like kind of just like picked the character that I thought sounded like a lot of fun. And she was like, oh, she's like a cleric. She's got like summons and stuff. I tend to like things. As far as like D&D and stuff goes, I tend to enjoy things that summon stuff. So I thought, why not? I've got no experience with like traditional like JRPGs and things. So how does it actually work? Are they 8 short stories, or are they or is it like a big, or is it like you start one place and you eventually get everybody and then like go fight the big boss?
Yeah. So you will eventually get everybody, but it depends how you want to play it. So you may want to do like a couple focus characters on those early on, but that would mean that the rest of the team might be a bit low later. I just went round and just picked them all up, then did another lap to do their second parts of their stories, and did another third round lap to get all their third part stories.
So is it quite a long game then?
Oh, it's chunky boy. It's a chunky boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be spending some hours in it, and like I say, a lot of the characters are really like I like Ophelia a lot. I think around her there's Harnett, who I started off with, the hunter, and who's the guy who's into herbs? Edgar, I think, something like that.
He's into herbs.
He's well into herbs. He loves it. But they say that in order for the story to canonically make sense or whatever, that you should start off as the merchant, because it makes more sense why she'd go around picking people up. But that's so bullshit anyway. Just pick whoever you like look of best to start, because you will get them all.
Yeah, if I'm not going to play somebody that I don't like the look of to start with, I'm probably just not playing the game.
You would be invested in it.
Yeah, that's it. So I was like, well, I was like, could do the fighter, kind of like that, your clanky tanky guy, and I was just like, eh. And I kind of went round and I kind of like read their, like they've all got like a little paragraph when you select who you fancy or whatever. And I settled on Ophelia in the end, just to say, yeah, her little story to start with is quite nice. It seems like I've done the first like boss, but like it's on her own.
What I would recommend, particularly if you're a big Game of Thrones fan, is go get Primrose the Dancer. Oh, it's a good story. It's a good story.
Yeah, I must admit, like, because I've not really played enough of it, like, I must admit I'm kind of intrigued as to how it actually works, because I've got a vague concept of it being like a bunch of small stories or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how it kind of feeds into like a more like epic narrative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so they would do all tie up in some way towards the end, because you just have to, because there's going to be some overbearing world threat because it's just a JRPG. You will fight God in the end.
Yeah, you will fight and kill God and be sad about it.
Yeah, you'll fight and kill God and be sad about it. But like I say, for the most part, you will have just like this person has this story and this person. And one of the things that kind of makes me sad about the game is that there's not enough interaction between the characters about their stories. You get vague.
Do they not kind of get invested as they go then? Because like I don't know, like
not really. I'd say there are some like side voice bits that they do occasionally, where they'll just like press start and then be like, oh, we'll have a little conversation about what just happened with one of the characters, but it's not like it's woven into the story. It is playing on the fact that you might not get all the characters. Just gotta keep things separate. So you get this person's story and it's their story right up until the end.
I've got very much a feeling that it'd probably be Rob's jam. Like Rob, if you can find it on sale or something on PlayStation or whatever. Like
I don't think it's not on PlayStation. PC? I don't think. Yeah, I think
my only option
would be my only option would be PC.
It'll run on PC, dude, because it's like 32-bit.
Yeah.
It's like it's not.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
No, I would love to play it. It's been on my like radar since it was announced. Like it's right up my alley as games go. It's a Square game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Square game.
Yeah.
SqueeNex.
Yeah,
the guys who do Bravely Default.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, which is another series that again was like on my radar for the longest time as well. So yeah, I know I would really like to play Octopath Traveler.
Yeah. And then like I know Rob will touch on one of the games I've been playing because which is fine. I'll let you kind of have the mainstay of the conversation because I know it's been a big thing, but I'm just going to touch on and say I played Spider-Man. Back into Spider-Man again. Awesome game, so good. And then the other thing that I've played shit tons of. So basically, my main two games this month have been Animal Crossing and Trials Rising.
Oh, Trials!
Which is just like good. It's just good shit. Just like tilty bike, difficult, like silly. It's great.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Well, that's it. That's me.
Awesome.
So I guess we throw the ball at Rob now.
Yeah. So not an awful lot. I would have loved to have played a lot more this month. But I think we started the month with BioShock Infinite, which we briefly spoke about on the last podcast. And I'm kind of near the end of it. Obviously, I took about a week and a half-ish off of streaming this month due to going back to work and being knackered from it. But the more I've gone into BioShock Infinite, the more I've kind of realised how it just could have been more. And it's a shame that it wasn't, really.
That was the big criticism with it. When
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still a fantastic game, and it deserves all the praise it gets and everything, and is fantastic. But I think in comparison to the previous, I mean, there's not much else that can be said about it that's not already been said. But just in comparison to the previous two games in the series, it's just missing something, I think. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't know. But
so you played it to the end before or not?
Yeah.
So it's a game that's very much made by its ending. Up until that point, it's kind of, I don't want to call it an average game. It's above average by far. It's an above average game, but it's like the ending sort of changed the way you philosophically look at the rest of that game.
Yeah.
Which, for better or worse, it is what it is. The game could have been more. It didn't have a chance to be. We've discussed this.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not months beforehand as well.
Yeah.
It's just one of them, really, isn't it?
I think my big issue that I'm sort of discovering with it, because this is only my second playthrough of it since I played it years ago. I think my big issue with it in comparison to the previous two titles is that it feels far more linear than the previous two do. The previous two feel a little bit more sandboxy. I know they're still linear, but they feel a little bit more open than Infinite does, which is funny, seeing as the environment that you're in is so vast and open, if that makes sense. It almost contradicts itself.
That with the combat stuff. You don't do a lot of backtracking. It's very kind of like 90s PlayStation type.
Yeah.
You're constantly moving forwards.
Yeah.
Which again, it would be fine if it kind of like did better to tap into that kind of like overarching lore that it delved into, because it's such like a body shock.
Yeah.
At the end, that one.
Yeah.
It only gets really hinted at it. You've got that the one major change that happens about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Like you alter the timelines in a weird way.
Yeah. Oh, I think we lost you, Naz. Naz. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, sorry, we lost you there for a second, dude.
Oh shit! I was getting all deep and philosophical there.
Oh no, and we lost you.
No,
so
I was just saying that. What was the last thing I said?
Oh my goodness. Towards the end, where you're jumping sort of timelines and stuff, I think was the last bit we.
Yeah, so I just want it to tap into that a bit more. There's only like a couple of hints throughout the game of that. So like a bit with a finger, where it's right, isn't it? Like a finger gets severed off at one point.
Yeah.
And like changes like some of the timeline. Is that when you go down to the workhouse, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, like the Fink section. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a change, like if he'd done something a bit more interesting, like maybe change like the look of like some of the enemies or something like that.
Yeah, because it's at that point when you're in like the Fink Industries section where you're basically just tearing through different realities, and realizing that doing so messes this up and messes that up, and this person's dead, that person's dead, and it just sort of goes from bad to worse almost with it, as you're then stuck in a sort of timeline where the Vox Populi have just taken over and they're just destroying Columbia.
I mean, there were hints that in the gameplay trailer that they released for free, where it's just like that was going to be the ongoing persistent thing.
Yeah.
And instead they just made it a single one-shot narrative thing.
Yeah.
And if it had been interesting, they could have happened. But, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, we got the game at the end. It was, you know.
Absolutely. I wonder if, because I've obviously been thinking about it, especially since we've done like our bonus level of the Undead Gaming Cast, where we were discussing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and you said, Naz, that I'm not quoting you verbatim here, but something along the lines of that. Now, if they were ever going to remake Final Fantasy VII, now is the time to have done it because of the tech that we've got.
Yeah.
I wonder if now would have been the time, truly, for BioShock Infinite to have been made with the tech that we've got and the scope that game had and the scope that they had to kind of dial back with when they were making it.
Wasn't the issue with the game more of a sort of a less satisfying narrative, less so than a technological, like, you know, the game still looks great. Do you know
No, that's not the issue.
I think you're hitting that on the head there, Josh. It's more of an administrative thing more than anything else. If they had reined their expectations a little bit, they made it like creatively some decisions.
But to be fair, though, it's also difficult to stand on the shoulders of giants sometimes. Like, I mean,
when you look at, say, Death Stranding, like that's a game where like a man's had a full creative control, and it's not perfect by any means. It's
paid off in some ways, paid off in other, not so much in others.
But you got to admire like the purity of the creative vision of that game, because one man said, "We're going to do the game like this," and it's all mad. And if that was like put in front of a test audience or anything like that, some of that would have get shut down. But there's kind of a beauty in the fact that mad creative purity has been kept as it is. But no one challenged it or told him to cut anything. It is what it is, and he can have no complaints about it because that's what he wanted it to be. And I wonder if that would have been the case with BioShock, because it does feel like a series of compromises were made to get the game out.
Yeah.
It's like so like that game came so long ago now as well. It's kind of almost difficult to postulate that nowadays. I think as well.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think that game feels rushed, but I think also maybe it was just a product of its time as well. Like
I think like I said, it's for me. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic game and I'm loving it and really enjoying it. But I can't describe it. It just feels like there's something missing from it, and I don't really know what that is. But it just feels like there's something missing from it. And looking into the game and its development and its all this, that, and the other, you can understand that that's possibly the case as you're playing it, feeling that, because it wasn't everything they wanted it to be. Due to one reason or another. So perhaps that's it. Maybe I don't know. But
yeah, you might have that thing with like people who with Metal Gear Solid 5 who discovered the Kingdom of the Flies, quote unquote, missing content. But that content was never going to make it in anyway. But people latch onto that as like this had been in the game, it would have been 10 out of 10. It's like, oh no, it's one level.
Yeah.
You spent 40 hours in this game, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, one level ain't changing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but there we are. I'm mighty looking forward to playing the DLC at some point this month as well. So that will be good to talk about and discuss, I suppose, next month. Other than that, dived in Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, which is just phenomenal.
Mind-blowingly good, right?
Just so good. So good.
To say it was amazing, spectacular.
I would. Astonishing.
Superior, maybe.
Superior, maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
Previous entries.
Yeah. But
Marvels.
yeah, that is
Definitely Marvels. Got to use Marvels.
just a great game, y'all. Just a great game. Insomniac have done like a fantastic job with that game. I truly hope that we get a sequel to it.
We wouldn't.
Probably in the works, dude. I'm like 100%.
Mate, that made gangbusters loads of money, and Marvel were very impressed with it. So
Absolutely. I also really like that it is not in any way, shape or form tied into the MCU. It's kind of its own standalone thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to have seen like a Tom Holland Spider-Man game. I think Tom Holland's one of the best Peter Parkers that we've ever had, personally.
I love that you think that. You know there's Avengers Tower in that game, right?
Yeah.
You can go to the Avengers Tower. That's in the MCU.
Yeah. No, I know.
There.
But
It
like,
exists.
it doesn't feel like it's following any form of sort of real MCU. It's not inherently tied into the games. The films. It feels like.
No.
So it's its own product, which I really appreciate and really like that, because it just lets them do more things with what they want to do with Spider-Man.
I think we're going to see like a slew of Marvel stuff like that now, because I think that was a very good proof of concept. I think some people are going to step forward.
Well, it's
talk about it already.
Avengers isn't.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Square Enix do with that Avengers game. But no, I really hope Insomniac do another Spider-Man game, because it is just amazing. It's certainly one of the best superhero games I've ever played. Everything just feels right with it, It's just...
It got the move tech down, which is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be a little bit tighter, but the move tech is faultless.
Absolutely.
It's like Arkham Asylum levels of good.
Yeah. Yeah, like to the point where we've said it before on the podcast. Arkham makes you feel like Batman. This Spider-Man game makes you feel like Spider-Man. It's just perfection.
So I was having a little chat with Amber, Rob's other half, for those of you who might not know, before we went live, and she'd also been playing it, and I said my pet peeve, and I was going to raise it on the podcast, was that there's no fucking lock-on feature. That is my one little niggle with the game, in an otherwise like brilliant feeling thing. Like sometimes I feel like the camera itself can be a bit cumbersome, especially when you're fighting like large packs of enemies. Like if you're fighting like everything like say like in a north direction,
Yeah.
and you've got loads of guys in the south. By the time you've killed everybody like north of you, you kind of end up having to like rejiggle yourself around, and it kind of takes a bit of the magic away from the fight, I think.
Yeah, I find that as well. Sometimes the camera can be a little bit awkward in those combat areas, especially when you're just like ganked by dudes.
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, like the more dudes you fight, I think the more of an issue it
becomes. Yeah, I've been feeling that a little bit.
It's not super stressful until you get like, like with all the demons and stuff. There's like 4 or 5 different like variants, and the regular thugs, and so like it kind of becomes an issue, where you're like trying to work out about what, like, I need to do this to this dude, as well as then like trying to like not get shot, as well as trying to like complete your bonus objective and then manipulate the camera on top of that.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where I feel it feels a bit like it's annoying, but like otherwise it's fucking great.
I suppose in the grand scheme of it, a minor gripe.
Super doesn't matter.
Yeah. But no, I do know what you mean. It does feel like that occasionally. But yeah, other than that, just really enjoying it. And also, I absolutely love the fact there's a bunch of collectibles in the game, or things you can do, like the landmarks or the backpacks, but it's all relevant. It's all useful. It encourages you to collect and do those things, not just sort of like explore the world and get little story lore things, which are really cool. But not everyone's into that. But it encourages you to get them because they're useful in terms of leveling up or getting suit upgrades or whatever it is. And I think that's a really
tokens.
Yeah, I just think it's a really smart way of using collectibles and getting you to sort of engage more with the world in a different way.
I've actually I bought it in like December. I bought it with like my like Christmas money or whatever. And like that was what I bought with my Christmas money. And like for whatever reason, like I think between like being poorly and the fact that like generally speaking, like my partner uses the TV in the living room, and I feel bad about kind of like saying, well, I'm going to play the PlayStation. So I hadn't played Spider-Man for ages and ages and ages, and like I actually used those little like side missions because they're also like all very like skill orientated as well. Like the pigeons, it's like get you back used to web swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, I just got randomly attacked by Pippa there. Bless her little soul. Like the pigeons get used back to web swinging, and then there's like the little bases or whatever, like get you back used to fighting.
Yeah.
And like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can like use those mini games to kind of get you back in the swing of things if you've taken a break from it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's just a really well-designed game, and fits, like, everything fits so well together for a Spider-Man experience or game or whatever. Like everything just it's great. It's great. It's a bloody great game, y'all. Play it. It's a bloody great game.
It's amazing, spectacular, etc., etc.
Absolutely. I don't know what else to say. I think it's certainly one of the best games we've had this generation. It's just, what more can be said? It's amazing. So yes. So that's what I mean. Have you got anything else to add, Naz? You were very quiet, and we're talking about Spider-Man.
I was just listening to you just fucking play about Spider-Man. Really. No. Like I say, I'd be interested to see what a sequel does with it.
Absolutely.
This was like the accumulation of a lot of ideas you see in other. It's very Naughty Dog in the sense of like it does a lot of things very well, but maybe doesn't reinvent the wheel of anything.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what would happen now they changed the. I said the strongest thing they did was there's a narrative choice they make at the end of that game that's quite bold, and especially if they're going to continue it. So
there was a rumor that recently circulated of like the one of these little side things that we've been talking about in the game was the research stations, which are sort of like was set up kind of by Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
And basically, there was a rumor going around on Reddit, kind of March time, I think, that basically said, "Oh well, like the second game will feature Venom as like your main like villain, and the twist on it will be that Harry Osborn is Venom."
There are hints to that in the game. There's certain sections you'll do, and again, trying to jump around things to make sure I'm not spoiling things for Rob.
Well, I've not finished it either. To be fair, Rob's actually probably further into it than I am.
Because I'm about 60% through, I think.
I watched play some of the mission that I actually did like on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the party where you have to like, you know, they're all dressed up as like,
oh yeah,
Blizzard and
yeah.
You're not far enough in yet for the spoilers I got.
But
you
I'm
got
super,
the milkshakes for this bar.
I'm super duper like I'm one of these people that also just never gets done in games like that because I just end up doing all the side stuff.
Yeah. But no, there's a lot of hints of stuff that's gonna happen through that game, especially if you do like the free DLC bits, the City Never Sleeps. There's a lot of stuff they expand upon that. It's basically like getting another game. You get those free bits.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, same. So I'm gonna dive into that as well.
Yeah, those three little episodes.
You've always been playing for a long time to come, a long time. But
awesome.
There are like hints about what the future is going to hold for that franchise. It'd be interesting to see what they do in terms of improving the web swinging. They add some more transitional moves because I don't feel like there was maybe enough for them. They got plenty in there, but like I say, they could just add a few more like flavor bits, like you can do like different kinds of flips or like backflips and stuff.
As long as they don't tamper with it too much, that's fine. But if, like you said, a bit more flavor, absolutely fine.
They know what they got. They're fine.
Yeah, it just depends on whether they try to reinvent the wheel with it or not.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Insomniac have got a pretty good track record of making sequels that maintain the course. A couple like mix up the gadgets a little bit. There were some that were just unuseful. I think like the suspension matrix for one, where it just makes people float off the ground. It's not especially that useful. But you know, like I say, the sequel's going to be far superior to anything they've done so far. I'm pretty convinced. This was very much we got to get like this bit right. We got to make sure it feels like Spider-Man. After that, we can have a play.
It does definitely feel like Spider-Man for sure.
Yeah. So other than that, the only other thing I've really been playing, which I haven't had a chance at all this week, sadly, is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is just so fun. It's just so good.
I've never heard of that game.
What is Final Fantasy VII?
What if it's the Final Fantasy? Why is there 7 of them? I'm really confused. What? Who makes them? What?
Oh,
you
Josh.
hurt me so much with these comments.
The thing is I know I do, and I just do it anyway.
No.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I am one of them.
Final Fantasy VII Remake is really, really good. Really, really fun. We've like I've said, like I keep plugging, we've certainly spoken about it more on the bonus level UndeadGamingCast, which is out right now. You can download it for free on Spotify or Apple Podcast and listen to it. But I really like what they've done with it. It looks beautiful. How they have almost rejigged or remade some of the story elements is really good, and I like that they're just expanding the game. Basically, I like that we're getting more of this world, this universe.
Are you playing Are you playing it like Final Fantasy 15 combat? Are you playing it like the traditional, like turn-based combat?
So, like the traditional. I mean, Naz can comment more on that because he's played through both. But the sort of classic combat, the turn-based, isn't quite the same as the original. But I'm playing it. I'm playing the new combat system basically, which is similar but very different to 15's combat system. They've still tried to use the ATB system, which was part of the original combat system in 7, which basically puts a timer on you using abilities, magic, and items and stuff. So the more
like you've got like an initiative tracker and it moves down, or is it more like if you cast Fireball on turn, like your first turn, you can't cast it for another 4 turns? Or
so basically, the more sort of damage output you do, and the more you engage in combat, the faster your ATB gauge fills. And when it's filled, you can use an item or use magic or do an ability, basically. So the more active you are, the more shit you can do, basically.
Sure, it's like it's frosting on your peanut butter. It's just extra.
Absolutely. So
I'd say more than anything else, like in hard mode, it's the only way you can really do damage is when you've got an ATB gauge, because you've got to try and stagger people. And certain abilities will increase that stagger, and certain abilities will, when an enemy is staggered, do extra damage. So there's a lot of tactical depth in there.
I do kind of know a little bit about that because of Octopath Traveler, like, and having like the break mechanic.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Is it that? Right, sure. I understand.
Yeah, so in Octopath you will what's it, battle points, isn't it, in Octopath?
No idea. Oh yeah, you get like a special point at the start of every like round of initiative, as it were.
Yeah. So it's ATB's basically like that. So if you're blocking or dealing damage with like your sword or gun or whatever, you will build up an ATB charge. Once you get charged, much like with battle points, then you'll be able to do like an extra like thing, a more fanciful move or like a magic thing or whatever, and that's what you use to actually control the tide of battle. So the square thing doesn't really matter, which is why people can play classic, because it will do all that attacking for you and defending.
Why wouldn't you be building an ATB gauge then?
You only really build your ATB gauges on your active character, so who you're playing at the time. So you can swap between characters in battle. But
oh, I see. So like, if somebody's a healer and somebody's like a wizard or whatever, and like if you only play one of them, you don't get. It's not a global resource.
No. So
sure,
in 7,
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So 7 was not particularly class-based. There were some people who were good at things compared to others, but it really wasn't like that. In the remake, they are much more specialized. So Barrett has range where nobody else does. Cloud deals out damage like nobody else. Tiff has got combos. Aerith's good with magic, and you just kind of like bounce between people and sort of build towards their strengths more so.
Which adds to the tactics of the combat system and makes things far more interesting and fun, basically.
Do you not risk at some point though, like if you're only like, well, does your party level evenly?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Roughly. I was about to say, because does that not lead to like scenarios down the line where you're like, oh shit, I need magic to kill this guy, and you've not leveled Aerith. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So you can put magic on whoever you want, whatever, but she's more specialized in that, and her abilities do more healing and support work than anybody else. So you still got that flexibility, but you really want to be playing the world. Specifically, if you're playing on hard, you really want to be tying into those kind of like specialisms. It's not a time to be experimenting. If you want to experiment, play on classic or easy. Don't experiment on hard. You should have your like mindset of how everybody's going to go out on hard, because you're going to have a rough time otherwise.
Cool. So we just taught Josh how to Final Fantasy a little bit there.
So yeah, sadly I'm only like 11 hours in. I've just not had the time, unfortunately, to play more of it. But we'll be finding the time as soon as possible.
Disgusted.
Don't judge me.
Wow. I mean, to be fair, I'm 0 hours in, and in a month I've managed to play 1 hour of Octopath Traveler. So, like, don't be judging Rob. At least he's had the game and he's trying to put some time in.
Also, once again, big shout out to my buddy Nick who bought it for me as well. Massive surprise and really awesome. So thank you.
That's
for
my
that.
Ned's alarm.
That's okay, dude. All good. So yeah, like I don't know what else really to sort of say about Final Fantasy VII other than go listen to the bonus level of the Undead Gaming Cast to hear a far more in-depth discussion about it.
So as you know me, not particularly well versed in JRPGs. Never really played a Final Fantasy game. I've played little bits of like 10 and like a tiny bit of like 15. Um, would you recommend the Final Fantasy remake as a first port of call for somebody who's never played Final Fantasy before?
Yes.
I think for you it would be because it's more action oriented. I know streamer friend of ours, Dauntless, she got into Final Fantasy. She's been playing 10, which is kind of like a more slowed down version of Final Fantasy. So it's more turn based. So you got time to think
I've
and
played 10
plan.
before a little bit.
Yeah,
Love
yeah. So
10.
that would be
Love 10.
I'd call that point of entry if you want Final Fantasy. If you want a point of entry to a good JRPG that would blend well with a Western mindset, I'd say 7 because you can do attacks and stuff like that, but then you can also just like do magic then as well.
Gives you a little bit of license to like move.
Yeah, it's a good blend of styles.
Mm.
I
And
would
it's
recommend playing
like
on
a
classic.
just an all-time classic game as well, which is, you know, how many like
Yeah,
just
I've heard it's a bit
You get to play the
different.
best bit of that game. Essentially, is what the remake is. You
it's a
get to
big
play the
deal.
best bit of Final Fantasy VII, which is the opening 8 hours. All that Midgard stuff is gold. Everything else that gets fucking wild, whether or not you like that or not. But that Midgard section is just
So
nice.
I'm confused then. So what? It's like the first 8 hours of the game the same as the original, and then it kind of like goes off the trails. Is that?
No, it sort of
No,
goes
no.
off the trails as and when, really. But
So when I talk about the first 8 hours, I'm talking about the first 8 hours of the original. So the original 8 hours, the whole Midgard section, is all of this game. This game itself is about 40 hours, easily. It's a long old game. They've done some stuff to pad things out. Some good, some bad. There's some really, really cool little things you get to do. Particularly if you're like a fan, like there's stuff like you collect music CDs for a jukebox, and they're all like classic remixes of old Final Fantasy VII songs.
Do you
So
not
they're
get to
really
kill the
good.
big bad at the end of the game then, or is because I know that they said that we're like doing a
Right,
like doing
that
a
would
kind
get
of
into spoiler territory. There is a big bad you get to fight at the end of the game. They do give you that.
but it's not the
It's
it's
not
not.
the be all and end all. It's certainly not. If you're looking for the complete experience of Final Fantasy VII and you want all that story that they've done,
And
you
correct me
want to
if
be
I'm wrong, but like, and I don't even think it's spoilery to say, but the big bad is Sephiroth, yes?
yeah,
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Sephiroth
Yeah.
is the big
So
bad. Of
he's
Final
not the
Fantasy.
big
Sephiroth!
bad at the end this game, though.
Like I say, I can't really go into spoilers about it because of Rob. All I can
Shit.
say is there is a big bad thing in there, but you do confront and then you have a fight with at the end.
Which is
So
funny because
it
it's
does
not a
have
carbon copy of the original. There are spoilers, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice.
there are some spoilers.
Yeah.
They do some stuff narratively speaking that don't necessarily fully. There was an interview today that came out from Nomura and Katase, who they discussed the kind of like implications of like the ending. So I don't think it's too spoilery to say there's like ghosts type thing that turn up in the game, which were never in the original. And there's they create some deviations because of these ghosts. So it's kind of like hinted at that maybe like you're in a different timeline or
I
like
was about to say that sounds to me like, does it present the alternate timeline kind of scenario?
yeah, there is some stuff like flashbacks and flash forwards and stuff like that that they go into. But they've said like they're going to keep as close to the original as they can, so you're still going to get that original story. So if you desire that story, go play the original. If you want just a really solid JRPG game that's got all of like the great moments, but you are not worried about like the story because you know what the big spoiler is at the end in the middle of 7 or whatever. You
Yeah,
know
I
what
think
the hell's going
everybody
to
in the universe knows what happens in the middle of 7. Like,
like
even I
it's
know,
just
and I've
it's
never
just a
played a Final
cultural
Fantasy
thing.
game in my life.
Yeah, it's just in our culture. We just know that thing's gonna happen.
It's in the same way that everyone knows that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Yeah.
Like it's that.
Everybody knows that Bruce Willis is a ghost. Like, it's
What?
But that's also some brilliant moments they've kept in. Which I'm gonna. This is gonna be a slight spoiler, Rob, but it's gonna be okay because you
Okay.
played stuff. So there's a bit where you have to infiltrate a building. And you're given two options. You can go in loud, or you can take the stairs. And you're given the option for both. Now, my person would tell you to recommend taking the stairs because it's genius. Because it makes you take all those fucking stairs. It's on the 59th floor. You take
That's
59
so
flights of stairs.
What, so you spend
And they do
actual IRL in-game time walking up 59 flights.
You did it in the
That's
original.
incredible.
And they do some stuff on those stairs that just it's
Man, I'm gonna go fucking buy that
underrated
game. I'm gonna go
game.
buy and play that game just to walk up those stairs. I'm intrigued.
Do it.
It's so good. It's amazing little bit. And there's also an enemy. They just had a standard enemy called Hell House. So it was just a giant house that you fought, and they keep that in this game. And there's tons of just wacky enemies. It's like, why is that here? And they just put it in. They just narratively justify it being in.
Smart, yeah.
It's really, really smart, some of the stuff they've done.
Sounds like Final Fantasy VII Greatest Hits. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's. Like I mean, they're remaking it, and it's you know, like Naz said, they're sticking it to the original as much as possible, but they're also like having a bit of free reign with it. Like, it's a game that's nearly 30 years old, and you can do more with this game now because of the tech you've got, and why not?
Yeah,
why not give us more? Why not expand on the bits that you couldn't quite do because the tech was limiting you back in the 90s? Why not?
That's something they've also explored into, because people have speculated this is going to be in 3 parts.
Yeah.
And they've essentially said, well, it may not be that. We may choose to like expand some bits out even more. So some of the smaller bits that might.
Do you think it's likely going to be like a DLC kind of scenario, like expansion packs, or is it going to be like?
I think it'll be a full release.
Individual games.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a Lord of the Rings box set, I reckon.
Sure.
You're gonna have this thing chopped up into various bits, and they're all be pretty tightly focused, and like they're all like this. They're all good and expanded, and they got the same kind of scope. I don't care how many games they do with it. Then just
I wonder how they'll handle that then, because obviously, like it's at the end of the day, it's still an RPG. You're still trying to take your character from level 1 to level whatever. So I wonder, like, what happens when they do the second release, if they kind of Mass Effect it in the sense of like you just pull through, your cloud from the first game or whatever, or if you just jump in the middle for whatever reason, like it presents you with a set of like choices.
Yeah, I am looking forward to how they address that, because there's been some people I've spoken to who have concerns about it. Some people who are very progress focused and like, oh, I hit level 50 now. Do I get to keep that progress? It's like, it's fine, whatever. But I don't mind either way. Like, I know where the story's going. I know what it is. I just look forward to being able to see all these new locations outside Midgar being realised.
Interesting. Like I said, I've got no skin in this game at all, but I think I've kind of looked like, I've always said that if I was going to play one of the Final Fantasies, it'd probably be 7 because it is so iconic. Yeah, I don't know that people say, "Oh, I really like 8" or "I really like 4" or like 10's the best thing since sliced bread. But like, I don't know. I think because it's so iconic, it would probably be easier for me just to be like, I know who Cloud is, I know who Tifa is, I know who Aerith is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's easier for it'll be easier for me to just.
I think as a story, it's the one that you will most relate to. It's about eco terrorism. It's about protecting the planet. You've got kind of like a cyberpunk steampunk mesh of styles visually, which I think you'd appreciate.
Actually, ironically, I'm not really into like cyberpunk or steampunk at all.
Oh, really?
But actually, like, I don't know. I think it's that kind of. I think, like I've said, because 7 is so iconic, that the setting like is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because of the history. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you presented me and you were like, "Yo, Josh, here's a steampunk game," or "Yo, Josh, here's a cyberpunk game," like I'd be like, "Okay, cool. Like, why are you recommending me this?" Because like I'm very much like full sci-fi or like high fantasy or like low fantasy. I don't really do a mix.
Yeah, it's
seems like it's its own thing almost.
It is for the most part. Yeah,
hard to describe.
I don't think you can really box it into a genre quite so easily. It's Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy, and it's Final Fantasy 7. Like, I don't know. I mean, I would recommend it to anyone. At the end of the day, Final Fantasy VII is one of those close to perfect games that's ever been made. There's a reason it's always in the top 100 lists, really high up, like near the tens, of like best games of all time, best RPGs of all time. There's a reason for it, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, like Square have done a really good job with it. They've done a really good job with it. And they've made it exciting as well, like, exciting to play this game again, but not just like rehash the same game, which they have done, but like I've said, they've just added more to it and made it more interesting. So it's still familiar for old players, but also it's new and exciting, and there's still twists and turns for those that have played the original, but also keeps it totally fresh for new people who have never played the original, feel like maybe should I have played the original? Do I need to play the original to play this? But like, no, you don't, because you're also getting a new experience on top of an old experience, if that makes sense.
How Puritans feeling about it? Has there been much backlash in terms of, oh my god, you ruined Final Fantasy VII?
I mean, like, of course there's been a bit of that, but I think for the most part, no.
Yeah, most parts been fine. It's
also, I do apologise for just kind of retreading bonus level content.
That's okay.
I'm genuinely
interested
in,
not at all.
And for obvious reasons, I wasn't asked to participate in that discussion. I've got no skin in that game at all, so like, I'm just curious. But like, I need to listen. I need to listen to the episode. Evidently, that's what I need to do.
That's fine. It's fine. Like I say,
I'm on Spotify.
Rob messaged us about 5 minutes ago saying, "Do we need to wrap this up?" I was like, "No, he's interested." Like, let's roll with this.
Guys, we got him. We got him.
Got him now. He's in.
I feel like like sometimes when like your cat brings in like a random piece of wildlife, and like you're like sneaking up behind it with like a blanket to like capture it to like release it back outside.
Yeah.
I feel like I am that random piece of wildlife. Like Naz is distracting me while Rob is sneaking up behind me with a blanket.
No, to me, this is like when you find out something like your parents interested in. Like, oh, that car's really old. I haven't seen. There's like 1,500 of those, though. And your parent looks and go, yeah, that's amazing. You knew that. Oh, you remember the things I tell you about my hobbies and such.
Remember the things that you like. I've told you that you care about. Yeah, man. I think I might have actually accidentally just Final Fantasy this out there.
No, that's fine.
That's cool. It was coming to a natural conclusion.
Yeah. So, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake, amazing. And like someone in the chat has said, it's a remake, not a remaster. So, gives them cause to do.
Gives them a bit of artistic license.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen nothing wrong with any of that. Like you said, Josh, it hasn't, for me personally, and also for Naz as well. Like the people that we had on the bonus level are like old, like OG-ish fans of Final Fantasy VII and have played the original through, and we don't feel for a second that this has tarnished the original in any sense of the imagination at all.
That if you're mad about the remake, there are several remasters of Final Fantasy VII available on
absolutely
literally any platform. I know that it's on Switch. I know that it's on Steam. I'm fairly sure it's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
If you're that mad about it, just go play one of these like remakes. Of it. It's not
like that's it. It not to sound harsh or horrible, but the original's still out there and it's still really fucking good.
And it's not even the original, because they've obviously tidied it up in some way,
Yeah, cleaned it up, made it look a little bit prettier. But yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Remake, amazing. Go get it. Go do the thing. Amazing. So with that's basically all I've been playing this month. So I enjoy how the sort of first half, or what usually is the first 20 to 30 minutes of the show, we've made the entire show. But absolutely, why not?
We need padding, mate. You have no idea how much padding we're going to need.
Sometimes you just have fun talking about video games with your friends.
Absolutely. I enjoy this part of the show. So
and especially... Sorry, Naz.
No, it's all right. echoing whatever sentiment you were about to say.
I was about to say, and especially when we're talking about like such like we've like this month we've all played like such good like games, or if we've not played them, like we've played them at other times. Like, you know, it's very easy to fill out like 90 minutes when you're talking about Bioshock, Final Fantasy VII, Spider-Man. Like,
Absolutely.
do you know what I mean? It's or Animal Crossing. You know, like these are all like big games that have like big communities and big love. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not that like there's not a lot going on this month. Let's be fair.
Yeah, and I'm having fun doing it as well. Like, I'm not bored talking about this. I could do another 90 minutes on it, but
another 90 minutes of Final Fantasy. Josh is just
mate, if only there was a podcast.
I could as well, in fairness.
Just 2 hours.
Just get in the chair. Like
it's Naz. It's almost as if we should dedicate an entire podcast episode to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which you can catch the bonus level of UndeadGamingCast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
I don't give a shit.
So, so normally at this stage we would move on to our news topic, but honestly, there's not much out there at the moment due to obvious circumstances. It's a little bit non-news at the moment. So
due to an IRL game of Plague Inc., there is not a lot of video game news going on.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, you're just going to get awesome discussions about them video games that you love and or like or hate. So there you are. So I suppose we'll just wrap things up by telling you where you can find us on the internet, and hopefully you go follow us.
So I need to stop you right there then.
Of course.
I did a colorized version of Badly Drawn Naz.
Oh my word.
That has not made it onto the screen.
It hasn't. Well,
so before we finish, we need the colorized Badly Drawn Naz.
Let me sort that out.
Absolutely, bring it on. While you do that, I will quickly talk about the new releases, because it's the one piece of news we have for this week.
Okay, yeah.
The release date for Last of Us Part 2. So, whether or not this is directly attributed to the leak that happened within Naughty Dog, I mean, we can go on about that, but we won't, because that just invites terrible conversations. But we do have a date for The Last of Us now, which is the, did I say the 17th of June? Let me just double check my notes here.
I think it was.
No, so Ghost of Tsushima is out in July. Yep, here we go. 19th of June is Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima is out in July.
I was super duper pleased to learn, and and for some reason it totally skipped my mind, but I'm a big D&D nerd, and like I say recently, kind of as 2020 came into sort of fruition, I started listening to Critical Role. And like I've said for the longest time that Ellie is my favorite NPC ever, and I found out that Ashley Johnson, who plays Yasha in the second campaign of Critical Role, is
the voice actress,
the voice of Ellie. Yeah,
I say you must have had a wild awakening.
It was so good.
That must have blown your mind.
It did. It fully did. And I also learned through listening to Critical Role and watching Rob's playthrough of Horizon that Ashley Birch is the voice of Aloy, who's my second favorite.
She's the voice of Tiny Tina in Borderlands.
Was she? I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no.
She's like a bomb crazy child, right?
Yeah. So two of my favorite voice actors apparently are also D&D nerds, which was always a nice little thing to find out.
So yes, so there is Badly Drawn Naz in colour.
Oh, there he is.
There he is in all his glory, as a representation of Naz. So Josh, what do you do? Where can we find you on the internet?
I am SingularityJosh. You can find me at SingularityJosh on Twitter, at SingularityJosh on Instagram, /SingularityJosh on Facebook, that I don't particularly use very much. You can more or less catch us every fortnight on a Tuesday, kind of in this slot, really, 7 p.m. GMT, where I take some of my best friends in the universe into my own little homebrewed D&D world. IDM. I'm joined by Rob, Beth, Alex, Catherine, and at the moment special guest Luke, as we kind of romp through lots and lots of goblins and get battered by halfling monks. God bless Granny Maple.
Awesome. Naz, what do you do? Where can we find you?
Just plug the old Twitter today, Naz_Dragonheart. That's the best place to find anything that I'm putting out at the minute.
Naz's Twitter is also wonderful. Please go follow Naz.
Yeah, do yourself a favour. We say that every time, but seriously.
I know, but like he's like legit, yeah. Like, Naz is like my favourite person on Twitter.
Literally every time, without a shadow of a doubt. It's a joy. It's a joy.
I have the good tweets. I do have the good tweets.
Well, with that, I am the Undead Gamer. You can find me on all of the socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Undead Gamer, gamer without the E, for shenanigans. If you're on this channel, you're watching us live, welcome. Thank you very much for tuning into the Undead Gaming Cast. And obviously, you're here at twitch.tv/theundeadgamer, where I stream most days of the week playing a variety of games. At the moment, we are still playing Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 and Bioshock Infinite. And after we've done with the campaign, which we're very, very close to finishing, we will do the DLC of that. After that, I don't know what we'll play on stream, but hopefully next month I can talk about something new. But yeah, so enjoy that. If you missed the podcast live, you can of course catch the VOD on YouTube coming at a later date this week. And big announcement. We are now, you can officially download for free the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast. I
feel like we're a real podcast now that we're
absolutely 100%. So if you literally search Undead Gaming Cast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, you can find us, listen, download for free. Also, please give us a review, as it really helps us out. That'd be really grateful.
If you're especially like I know especially with iTunes' algorithm, the reviews are huge. So if you can leave us a review on iTunes, that would really help us get kind of up the lists and into people's ears.
Absolutely, it really helps out.
Feed
really
the algorithm.
Feed it. It's a hungry beast.
The machine.
So yes, thank you very much for that. And also, if you're audio only, be sure to check out bonus levels, which we've been wanting to do for a while. These are bonus episodes where we get together with guests and we talk about a very specific topic. We've plugged it about 6 times already in this episode, but here's another. The latest episode of absolutely, it's brand new. The latest episode, and the first episode of the bonus level of the Undead Gaming Cast is about Final Fantasy VII Remake, where we go in depth about that game. So
there's one topic we got in the pipeline that I'm really excited about us to touch upon when we get round to it. So
sorry, just to clarify, also, is the bonus level in the same feed as the regular podcast?
Absolutely, you don't have to search anywhere else for it. If you search up Undead Gaming Cast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you will also find all the episodes of the Undead Gaming Cast and the bonus levels. So it's all in the same feed. I've done it all nice and easy for you, so that you find it real good. So yes, thank you very much for tuning in. I am live again tomorrow at 7 PM GMT, playing more Bioshock Infinite, and then you can catch me again the rest of the week, Friday, Saturday, and but more importantly next Tuesday for some D&D goodness at Roll 4 on SingularityJosh's channel. So until then, y'all, stay safe, wash your hands, stay at home, and we will catch you next month, which will be on the... we normally give a date, don't we?
We do normally.
Date, yeah. So that'll be the 26th.
It'll be like the 26th, yeah?
It will be the 26th of May. So thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Ta-ta.